or the back, and then go back. Okay. During that conflict, the seeds that were planted internally and externally, and seeds that are planted can be things of doubt. I don't know if you've been watching the Doom Patrol, but there's Mr. Nobody who puts people like suggestions in people's thoughts to make them doubt something. And they hold on to that doubt and they create conflict within themselves and others regarding that doubt. To re-trigger this inside of this and this, to perpetually keep this in a state of this, and then holding on to the grief, to what could have been, what should have been, but instead, this has been what's been held on to. Due to these experiences, which were used to teach wisdom and unconditional love, but instead were used to cause this. Due to the beliefs, structures, and cooperation of people, places, things, family, life, and the higher workings of the divine as well as the lower workings of people who initiated this to cause a sense of this within what should have been this. Now, this completes and restarts perpetually because it is fate, destiny. It's divine order, balance, that this occur at all times, unstoppable, indestructible. Because no force in existence can stop the sun from rising. No mortal force can stop what the divine is intending. Nothing can stop evolution. But if you continue to use your wisdom, your hopes and dreams, your boundaries, what you hold on to, what you defend, what you work with, how you wield magic, who you wield it with, and what you're teaching, and what you're rejecting. If you allow this to perpetually be denying this because of memories of this, then what you're doing is this. And those people who are around you and enable you become the karmics, whether they were intended to be or not. Because in one way or another, whoever you are, choosing with your own free will to constantly do this, when that's offered, is doing this to yourself. And then that energy gets rooted in. And then you have to go back into the energy and find it, work on it, deconstruct it, and rebuild it in a more Christ-like manner. And every time those wounds get triggered again, you can just skip right to the part where you realize the key of it all is what's held right there. What is the core truth of the Hermit? Wisdom. What is the core truth of the Queen of Cups? Unconditional love. What is the core truth of this card? Building a stable foundation. Holding on to things that help you build a stable foundation in all directions. But if you're holding on to this, then every time you get this, it's going to look like this because you're constantly reminded of this. Because people have been constantly reminding you because you kept planting those seeds in those people around you. So, in order to get to this, you need to be doing this within this part of yourself. Because there's something that's supposed to happen. But in order for it to happen, you have to complete something internally. Which means this thing you were supposed to learn and do, this unconditional love and forgiveness, it's the thing that skips to this. Balance of masculine and feminine, the divine hermaphrodite, male and female sides. The female side that worked on boundaries as a male must come into peace with its masculinity and femininity because it has to allow for what it wants to be what it wants instead of to be what it is pretending to be because it's scared. So it has to come to this complete and utter vulnerability, which means on the flip side, that energy has to dip into this energy and to allow itself to be vulnerable in a protector way, while that side has to be vulnerable in a being held and loved and protected. But how can they do that when everyone around them reminds them what was in that cup? But you said it was this. How could it have been this all along? Because it was trying to teach you that no matter what happens, what you felt was real. And it was only tainted by what they told you to think about it. Because when they weren't around, it was this. And when they came around, it was this. And the entire thing was allowed. So you can learn and see what this really feels like. Which means if you're at the part where you can't forgive and move forward, whether with them or without them, then you can't feel this yet. You can't see clearly. You see what they were telling you to see. which means some part of you is still in this. How could this be real when you feel this too? Well, you were meant to feel this so that you can overcome this and let this fill that, and let the force of that water that comes out be unrelenting, because you went through this to remember this. And now this will never stop this again. Because the minute they come back with this, it just becomes a beautiful little campfire. So it's up to you. Let them win. Or let the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit and the Son, the lovers, and wisdom herself, and Gaia, Inanna, Tiamat, Sophia, Isis, Ishtar. That's all that. The Magdalene. The Adam and Eve. The Hecate and Pan. Ma'ari and Shigar. Jesus and Mary. You can look at it in any form of religion all over the world. Some things are just meant to be. Every Virgo has a Leo. Every single one is the Virgin. And that is the lion, the king. You can pretend this was more real than unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness all you want. But deep down inside, every time you feel this, some part of you recognizes you're doing this to yourself. Because you could just take that cup with whoever, whatever face it is, even if it's just your own in the mirror, and just learn to be better. Or you can use the same time you spend doing that, doing this. And the entire time, your subconscious keeps planting more and more seeds of that within you, doesn't it? That those things that you think, those negative things, are true. You brainwash yourself into believing that you're not worthy of that. You block it. And you cause conflict and create scenarios to make yourself think and see that as something that it's not. You don't even want to see the card. The Knight of Swords bringing you the truth. Because you're so set in your ways that what you remember is what's actually fact. Then why is it that when you're presented with this energy, you're the only one wearing the armor? Why is it this side can do both like this. But when it comes to the other side, it does this. And it calls it vulnerability and maturity. Really? Empire, legacies, religion, super galactic whatever, universal God. At what point do you draw the line and say, I refuse to allow love within me for you? At what point does that make you a godly person? When? Explain it to yourself. Explain it to the God within you. That you choose, don't you, to hate people, to not forgive them. You choose to do good or bad, and you deem things worthy or unworthy, beautiful or ugly, don't you? When in God's eyes, everything is perfect, but in your mortal eyes, something is broken because you think you know better than God's plan. So when things happen, you think, oh no, toxic, karmic, bullshit, witches, curses, woo, 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 woo. But it's just meant to teach you. Can you forgive the atrocities your families commit upon you so that you can be more like this? Or do you want to pretend he's going to hold a grudge? Or do you want to pretend you're more important to God than any of other God's creations? That somehow your ill intent is more powerful than God's love for his children? That somehow God brought the love of your lives into your lives only to hurt you and have you call them karmic garbage? Who's the blind one? Who can't see in the dark? That. They can see. They sure saw when they started that fire. They see what they're procrastinating and destroying or attempting to. He sees what he's ignoring. They see what they're building. They see what they're stealing. They see what they're manipulating. They see what they're holding on to and denying. And they see what seeds they're planting to hurt other people or gain themselves by stealing. They all see. Do you? Or are you too busy being a foot soldier, a puppet on a string? Yes, sir. Just following orders, sir. Oh, I've known them since childhood. They would never. They would never. But they did. They did the worst possible thing, didn't they? Didn't they? They took the man and turned him into a beast. And they took the woman and turned her into a man. Didn't they? Your inner child knows. Your future self knows. And your current self absolutely knows exactly what they've done so that you couldn't see that. Because you were too busy suffering. To see the family they stole from you. But now you do, don't you? Now you see. They did it on purpose to you. And it was all according to plan. Will you get back up and rebuild together? Or was that all it took? No matter how atrocious, was that all it took for you to say, fuck you? Never again. Never again. Was that all it took? Arrogance, pride, sloth, envy, rage, lust. Was that all it took? The flesh. Was that all it took? To think you knew what was going on? Is that what it would have taken him to walk away from his wife, his empress? Is that what it would take God to walk away from his children? Is that what it would take for a father to walk away from their sons and daughters? Is that all it would take for them to throw in the towel and say, well, that one can't be saved? Fuck them. We can start over. We can do a new experiment. We can sacrifice another one. We can just do another one. Was that all it took? Just a pair of boobs, some facial hair, some abdominal muscles, some grunting, some sweating, some money. Was that all it took to sacrifice your innocence for your hatred? Was that all it took for you to burn your own empire and legacy down? Because you thought someone else's was better. So you burned theirs down too. And you thought it would help you heal. To piss on the tree of life. But little do you know, ye of little faith, the mother is always right. Even God, Yahweh, gave her the authority of judgment because he trusts her judgment. See? You just take that seventh wand away and allow yourself to be loved and burn it. And stop waiting Stop honoring yourself. Stop wasting time on the pleasures of the flesh and actually give back to your family. Move through that cloud and see the home behind it. That's the entire deck. I hope that helps you. I'm going to vote because I did not want to do this reading in the first place. And you know when a message keeps... Do you guys ever see Medium with Patricia Arquette? Every time she would get a message, it would repeat over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until I say something or figure it out. And for the past week or so, I've been hearing minefields in my head. And every TV show I've been seeing has been about seeds and doubt and whatever else. And today, everything's been about people forgiving each other. And I'm like, cool, okay. And then I've just been watching this vision unfold of all of this and seeing this entire reading happen before it happened. So now it's out of my head. And I can go and start season 3 of Doom Patrol. So I hope you have a good night. Merry Christmas Eve. And there's one thing I haven't said yet. In the test of unconditional love, the thing you are so adamant about being true that causes you to feel cold and angry is the test. Because that's like transmuting lead into gold. If you can transmute that hate into tolerance, even, then you're making the first steps. If you can't, another person will probably be brought to you by the karmic wheel until you learn the lesson, which means you're probably going to love them even more. And even more and more and more and more. And they're probably going to be doing terrible or good things, on and off until you learn the lesson that it has nothing to do with them. They're doing things to get you to transmute emotions inside you instead of being blocked by those emotions every time they come up. Okay? Think about it this way. If I'm afraid of a snake and I'm talking to Isis, and she's covered in golden snakes and emerald snakes and all that. How cowardly would I be? Like, how scared would I be, right? I can't be scared of it. If I go to someone's house and they have a pet snake, which I've done before, and it was fucking scary. And they're like, you want to pet it? You want to see it? And I'm like, okay. Because it's something important to them, right? I know I'm fine. I know I'm protected. So you feel that fear, push it to the side. No matter what it is. Ever. So if you can't do that with forgiveness, if you can't do that with anger, lust, greed, addictions, cravings, desires, even negative emotions, like real bad, like sadness and sorrow and depression, if you can't just snap out of it, then you haven't mastered it, which means your life is constantly showing you that one thread. So today, the whole thing that started was something about a TV show I watched a while ago, A Discovery of Witches. It was Diana Bishop doing the Tree of Life thing. And they were going through the knots, and I'm like, okay. And then I noticed people's negative intentions. Like, that's a whole thread on itself. And it's just dangling outside a tapestry. And I'm like, what is this? And they're like, nobody knows what to do with this. Everybody has negative intentions. So we transmuted all of it eternally, infinitely. It's woven into the tapestry. It's just a part of life. It doesn't have to affect you. I can run around and tell you you're going to get $1 million tomorrow. Are you going to believe it? Not really. Because an emotional response is very small. Belief is very small. If I tell you your dog humped a cat and they're going to have dog cat babies, you'd be like, oh, is that even possible? Maybe. You'd be a little more open to it. If I told you your grandpappy was king of a tiny island of little teeny tiny people, you'd be like, no way. But in the back of your mind, you'd kind of be curious and funny, right? If I tell you your ex is spying on you, you'd be like, oh, yep, my ex is spying on me. Okay, but what do you want to do about it? You can't just think something. You have to actually feel it and put that feeling with that emotional response. What do I do with it? I hope they're happy. I mean, what do you want me to do? It has nothing to do with me at all. So what am I going to do about it? Love and light, buddy. Like, okay, cool, whatever. At least I'm being remembered. I don't know. Just think about it. People spend every day together, every moment of the day. But their relationships, and I just keep hearing Miranda, Miranda. Their relationships are mostly ruled by what other people think it's supposed to be ruled by. How they're supposed to be done, what they're supposed to look like, think like, feel like, what their genitals are supposed to be. And everything's supposed to be a certain way before it's a certain way. But it's not how it works. Because in the upper world, and other planets, and other dimensions, and other timelines, you guys already love each other. You've already loved each other. So the only thing in the way are the phrases used by other people when they spoke. Right? And distorted memories that have been re-remembered so many times, the facts have changed within those memories. Let's say I'm talking to a friend I had from high school. I remember the Arby's across from that high school distinctly. I loved their roast beef. He barely ever went there, ever. I would cut school and go there and just eat burgers and then go to the mall and smoke a bunch of weed. So um, he probably doesn't remember it the same way I do. But the location was one specific way, wasn't it? I don't even know anymore. So, do you comprehend what I'm saying? Certain things did happen, but those things that happened were also things that, if it was Adam and Eve in a storybook, fairy tale, the two would come together, right? At the end of the story, it would be a union that you can't break apart. It's fucking Adam and Eve, like whatever, right? But at some point, people downplay their own love, their own capacity to forgive and be unconditionally loving and wise while having healthy boundaries and knowing when to move on and when to stay, because there is no wrong choice, but you got to know what you want to do. There has to come a point where you elevate your sense of how valuable your love is so that you don't behave like a fucking muggle. Okay? So just because Mary Kay Cosmetics tells you a lipstick is so good, doesn't mean that Revlon's not going to tell you that lipstick sucks. Right? Terrible example. But you kind of get the point. So if somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, the Leo you were with before is your twin flame and you're supposed to be together," and ooh, okay, cool. Another person comes and says, "No, that person did all these terrible things and blah, blah, blah." Okay, yep, both are accurate. Whatever. And I can sit here and say I would do certain things all day long, left and right, but really in reality, just like a lot of you people know, if your best friend in high school showed up, if your distant cousin showed up, if your estranged family member showed up, your ex, you run into them in a grocery store, or someone's a waiter at a restaurant you're in, and you went to movies with that person once, your first reaction wouldn't be, "You son of a bitch." Some of you, it might be. Most of you, it wouldn't be. You'd probably just be like, "Oh, hey." So before you get to that simple, "Oh, hey" moment, remember, there's a lot of chaos in your head that needs balance, because there's a lot of other people and a lot of other people's sexual energy and a lot of other people's influence and behavior patterns and emulations of energy and personality habits and all the food you ate that became bacteria in your intestinal tracts and has shaped who you've become physically and appearance as well in the recent years, regardless of how long you've seen that person. All of those things can change and improve. So those of you thinking you're not worthy of love, that's just for right now. You'll get over it in 5 minutes. Those of you worried about rejection, that's just right now. You'll get over it in a few minutes, because you want somebody to pull you out of that state and give you a reason to feel better regarding that circumstance. But the test is for you to do it to yourself, so that the next time someone tries to trick you into getting into that situation, or that belief that someone's cheating on you or lying to you or talking shit about you or doing bad stuff or whatever, that you can just look at them and say, "I didn't manifest that. Try again." Or you can be like, "Oh no, oh no, what do I do? I need advice. My baby daddy cheating on me." No, he's not. And if he is, he's probably teaching you how to forgive things that are unforgivable. Because you deserve to be loved in a way where if you ever did those unforgivable things, you would be forgiven too. Because if you can't forgive something, how dare you expect Jesus Christ, Christ consciousness, or the mother of creation to forgive you? When you hold unforgiveness in your heart, that is the biggest stone on the scales of Ma'at. Doesn't matter how light your heart is. If you cannot forgive even one person in existence, there's already a stone. And that stone immediately weighs more than a feather. I'm simply attempting to help you. If you think I'm doing anything else, then that stone is bigger than you think. If you think I'm doing anything in this apartment other than enjoying my life and wielding the tapestry of life for personal gain of peace, so much so that it overflows in my life across the world and those connected to me in a positive way. Orgasmic fucking bliss 24/7 cellularly, then you're damn right I'm doing magic. Can't you tell? And yes, I do mess with black magic. You know what I do with it? That. I bring that chaos into balance. Because it takes a little bit of greed to want a couch. It takes a little bit of anger to demand medical attention. It takes a little bit of fucking fury and lust to desire and crave money and luxury. It takes a little bit of fucking rage betrayal towards the self and sacrifice of the self to transform your physical fucking body every 5 minutes at a mitochondrial level. So there are ways you can use magic in the quantum field and the tapestry to not be a total douche nozzle. Or you can continue doing what you're doing, and you are absolutely no threat to anyone, anywhere. No union, no self, no other. Because that dark magic wielded against others through words, intentions, spells, sacrifices is weak. Doesn't even have the strength to leave your own auric field, haven't you noticed? And people do this to themselves with their own thoughts, based on the seeds planted by the thoughts of others, and the energy transference of skin to skin contact, and people entering your home, people touching your door, people thinking about you, the emotions they think and feel when they think about you, the actions they take, the clothes they wear, the colors they wear. So, are you going to continue to allow yourself and your soul to be an unforgiving cunt towards yourself for everything you've done as a person? Or are you going to grow up and be a man or a woman? Or both? Grow some tits or an ovary or two or some balls. Because the time to pretend to be a teenager with a grudge towards yourself and your inner child simply causes so many fractures towards the mind and the sense of self that negative behavior gets reinforced and enabled through behavior of other people who you attract because you hold those demons within you, those neural networks of unforgiveness. And every time they activate, what do? Glug, 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 glug. So, may this serve you because people around you don't. If they did, you wouldn't be on this channel watching this video knowing that I'm right, even though I don't want to be. So, you're going to go stand in front of the mirror soon, probably. And if you love yourself, you're going to stand there and tell yourself, I fucking love you. And I know I fucked up within myself, towards myself. And then you're going to kiss your reflection. You're probably going to cry. You're going to go eat ice cream, watch some TV, whatever. I've dealt with this years ago. Having to think about this again just reminds me of what it felt like back when I turned that unforgiveness into forgiveness. And if you want to know that you're on the right track, it should feel like, when you're really, really angry and then you see something and it makes you laugh. And you can't help but laugh. So you have to allow yourself to laugh because it's so opposite of the anger or frustration you were feeling that it's just kind of funny. And then you look at how silly you are for not having forgiven for this long, and you realize all the things you've done in the state of unforgiveness have been completely absurd. Right? So why don't you skip to that part? Find the thing you can't forgive and forgive it. And if you think you've forgiven it, forgive it again. And again, and then again, and then again, and again, and again. Because life is too beautiful for you to sit there and worry about what your baby mama, baby daddy are doing. How much your children hate you or don't hate you, how much, covens or whatever they're doing what. Fucking get over it. Get over it. Just let them do whatever the fuck they're doing and go live your fucking life. What does it matter? The only time it matters is across social media, doesn't it? Doesn't it? It's so silly. Like, if any of these people who tried to make themselves my enemies were face to face with me, do you really think I would be fight with them? I'm making coffee. Do you want a cup? No, no. Do you want to watch The Last Unicorn? No, no. Do you need a snack? Are you hungry? Yeah. Okay, you can leave now. Or, hey, you want a cup of coffee? All right, come on, help me. Grab a cup. You can even use pettiness as white magic for yourself. So whenever you're feeling petty, why don't you be a little arrogant and prideful towards yourself? Be super petty towards yourself. Like, oh, bitch, those pants don't look that good. But if you did this other thing with those pants, they look great. Oh, you look like this. But if you did a little bit of this, you'd look like that. You know, you go look around your apartment, be petty towards yourself in your fucking apartment. What can you fucking improve in your own space? Do you have garbage? Do you have laundry? Do you have boxes, clutter, things disorganized, things in random drawers? How many everything drawers do you have? Why don't you clean up your fucking space? Be petty towards yourself in that way. What kind of a lazy fool doesn't clean the space they're in and then expect to have clear thoughts? Be petty with how you eat. Get angry with yourself about your diet and the things you're addicted to that you know are bad for you. Especially if you keep compounding the belief that something is bad every time you do it or think about it. What a dumbass. I'm not getting compassion for that. That's complete and utter stupidity. Ugh. So, did I point a sword to you enough? Lovingly and compassionately. Because I could have made this video and just said, get the fuck over it. You were tricked. So was I. Grow up. I did. Or I can sit here and say, oh, love is so important. You got to forgive everyone and everything, no matter what. Nope, sometimes a fool is just a fool and you walk away from that fool. Some people can't be redeemed because they refuse to. Eventually they will, but for now they aren't. You know who I'm talking about. Some people are just so dark that the only thing that will ever illuminate them is realizing exactly how dark they've become. Because that little glimmer of hope in them, when it sees how dark things have become around them due to their own dark thoughts, will rage so blindingly. So their dark acts mean nothing. It's just temporary dust in the wind. And then what are we going to get? Diamond tears from every dark magician all across the fucking universes. Don't you recognize how much darkness people have to enact to avoid seeing their own light? And then when someone like me is around, what do? Try to cover me in the same filth. Because I terrify them. Why? Why are you angry at me? Why does the other one not forgive me for something I haven't even done? The other one hates me for something I've never even said. I don't even know who they are. Others fantasize about me wanting to marry me, and I don't even know what the fuck. Who are you? Do I even know you? Others cast black magic. Others don't give a fuck if I'm alive or dead. Others don't even know I exist. Others make memes about me. Others steal from me. And then some others are afraid of me rising up in any way, even though I'm at rock bottom perpetually. What are you afraid of? Me getting a bicycle? Rollerblades? A car? Are you kidding? God. You know, all that effort, all that energy. Just think what you could have done with your own space. Had you just used that magic for yourself? But instead, you sent me all that magic. You ruined all those relationships. You allowed others to ruin yours. In some way, fit yourself where it fits, don't make it fit if it doesn't. But you know what I'm talking about. And this is your reality check. Are you going to continue to be a little bitch and allow other people to use your energy of manifestation based on what they tell you you're doing? Or are you going to choose right now to disallow yourself from feeling any other fucking negative emotion towards anybody else? Because now you recognize that the fucking psychic is up against them. And it will always come back to you tenfold. Wake up. Because it's really exhausting to sense so much unforgiveness in the human collective. And it's all because of people doing whispering in your ears. Enough is enough when you say it's enough, emotionally. If my life has been anything, these 2 lifetimes and more, if I can forgive what's happened to me twice over, perpetually for 42 years, and then in another lifetime that ended before the 1950s, and then there was another one in between there where I barely even made it to 30. So, if I can forgive all that while remembering all of it and going through what I go through every day, if I can just wash that unforgiveness out of me every fucking day, what about me makes me seem like I'm more capable than you? Hey, Rebecca, hope you're well, sweetheart. Right? What? Because if some of you think that I can forgive something so atrocious because I'm a better person or a bigger person, that's also a blockage within your consciousness that's preventing you from surpassing it and rising above it emotionally to feel a better emotion regarding that thought pattern. It's like a neural network going this way and then gets diverted because what you're doing is saying, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, accept that person. I love, I love, I love, but I don't love that. I accept, I accept, I accept, but I don't accept that. You don't have to do that. If you're not a vibrational match to it, if someone's flinging shit at you, it just goes on by because you're not pulling it to you. How do you pull things to you? Energy gains momentum when it becomes directed by your thoughts, emotions, energy in motion, energy that gained momentum. Like how much simpler do you need it to be spelled out for you? The more you hold on to unforgiveness, the more you attract experiences to perpetually teach you to forgive. And if that's where you draw the line, then that line will constantly be crossed for you to forgive it. Because it's the only thing keeping you from a higher level of experiencing love in its pure form. Because you keep yourself bound to the unforgiveness of cheating, or someone did something physically horrible to you when you were a kid or when you were a teenager or an adult, violence, whatever. I don't want to say those words. But if you can't forgive that within yourself, so whenever you think about that experience, you're not hurt by it anymore. Yep. So if you can't think about it and not be hurt, instead think about it and say, I really love that person. Thank you for that experience. I choose to feel the love for that person more than I choose to feel the hatred I had. So I release that hatred. It's like grief. When someone passes, you love them so much. When someone leaves, you love them so much. After a breakup, you feel all that love again. Why? Because that illusion is gone. The dark magic did what it needed to, didn't it? It separated them. So then you start seeing it for what it was. But then you can't go back to it because you're taught, do not go back to exes, do not forgive. Certain things are unforgivable. But those are the archonic things keeping you from experiencing what you call agape or Christ consciousness unions. It's keeping you from comprehending where someone like me is actually coming from. It's keeping you from comprehending the love between ascended masters. It's keeping you from comprehending the love aeons have for archons. How Father God can love everyone and everything unconditionally while maintaining justice and order and balance. But for some of you, you draw a line which disconnects you from the divine. But then you say you're spiritual, which means you connect to the unholy. Time to get yourself straight. Get back in your own lane. And be who you are knowing yourself to be. Because if you really are who you claim to be, then even if God forbid, if the devil showed up and took the entire universe and only left the earth and threw it all into a garbage compactor and then set the garbage can on fire and he's like, and you're the last living person and you're sitting there, hey, mama lit, and you're going and looking at that devil and going, okay, well, eventually you'd have to forgive them, wouldn't you? Eventually, both the devil and the last living person would have to get along. And then eventually something new would begin. So no matter what, it always comes down to, can you forgive? Or do you draw a line and say, nope, no, not after that? If someone came up to you that, got out of prison and showed up and said, hey, I'm so sorry for what happened, please accept my apology, would you even hear them out? Or would you become the karmic and withhold forgiveness? You got to mature, a lot of you. It's like the love of a mother for her child. At what point does the mother say, that's not my child? No matter how justified, remember, there is no wrong choice. At what point does she become cold? No, it's not up to us. We gain that forgiveness and unforgiveness. We have the unforgiveness so that we're taught how to transmute it. They're gaining that experience on the other side in a way to figure out, can they forgive like we can, right? Depending on light and dark side. Like the dark does something stupid, the light does something stupid. We're supposed to forgive each other and learn the lesson. So if the light keeps forgiving the dark is like, I'm going to keep doing it to the light. And then if the light puts a boundary and says no more dark, and then the dark will just continue to do shit to the light anyway, because it's just what they do. So the light has to mature in some way and say, no matter what I do, the dark is still going to be the dark. And the dark has to eventually realize, no matter what it does, its only choice is to stop being what it was and be something better. Instead of conflict in union, it has to become support, nourishment in union. Instead of damaging the light and forcing the light into constant forgiveness and acceptance and altruism, the light has to say, hold on, this is a line. And the dark then has to say, okay, what do I need to do? How do I improve? Because I don't comprehend things the way you do. So the light says, stop attacking me. Start there. So what does the dark have to do? Adjust the thoughts, the feelings, the actions, the environment, and its connection to spirit, to the light. So then they connect. And what do? They create a loop, an infinite loop of the dark supporting the light, the yin yang. Because they realize if they keep forgiving, then it turns the light into the dark, because forgiveness becomes something detrimental. Because the dark then becomes the one who teaches the light how to become stronger and draw boundaries. You see how the light and the dark play with each other? No matter what you do, it's somehow the right thing, and somehow, if you keep moving with it, it teaches you the wisdom. But if you draw the line, then the entire cycle stops. I draw a boundary with the dark. I will not. I will not. And the dark says, well, fuck you. I'm going to keep doing it. So then it has to stop and say, I forgive you. And then this side says, okay, I'm going to stop attacking you. Now what? Coexistence. Doesn't have to be side by side or with each other, but at least there's no conflicting energies within the tapestry. No matter what, you got to look at it as something to learn from. Because if you think you're done learning, you think you're above God. So no matter what's going on, if you're drawing a line and saying, can't forgive that, that's your test. Why can't you forgive that? So someone threw a baby into a volcano. Fucking sucks, doesn't it? What sucks more? That someone did that and you're the one keeping it alive in your heart and your mind and your emotions? Or that someone did that and then grew old and died and no one even remembers who they were? What's hurting God more? The fact that you, God's creation, perpetually feels that unforgiveness like a thorn in the heart and says, nope, that's where I draw the line. I can't release that thorn. But if you did, you'd be feeling something else. And that's the scary change. That's the, what if I'm weaker for forgiving that? What if it means I'm vulnerable and they take advantage of me? What if it means they're going to notice when people do that again before they even do it, and you don't even gain an emotional response or etheric cord to that? Because you see the red flags and you realize it's a red flag. It's not a red shirt. It's not passion. It's a sign of a cheater who hasn't learned that love is more important than sexual gratification. So you walk away. Instantly, you make that choice in your subconscious because you recognize you deserve better. So when that shit is swung towards you, you just go. But first, you have to finish freshman year to go to sophomore year. That way, you can look back at the freshman lessons and say, "Oh yeah, that aspect of forgiveness, that was difficult, but this is how you do it." Oh, that aspect of going to gym class, yeah, it was tough, but you can do it. This is how. These are the things I. So yeah, unforgiveness, big one. Takes a lot of healing. Takes a lot of work. Takes a long time. A lot of self isolation. But eventually, it boils down to one question: do you really hate yourself enough to keep feeling unforgiveness every time somebody brings that person up or anything to do with that person? Do you really hate yourself enough to allow your emotions and your thoughts to go to a bad place every time somebody says something about something that you have a trigger to, or that someone did that hurt you, or something in the scene of social media that you don't like? Every time? It's that easy? What if you're in a relationship and somebody shows you deep fake videos of your partner cheating on you? Would you believe them? Or would you have faith in your partner? How easy would it be? How easy would it be to make you think your children are betraying you? How easy would it be to make you think your partner cheated on you? How easy would it be to make you think that the serpents around you are actually your allies? You have to know the tools of the trickster and the narcissist if you're going to be able to go against them as an empath, don't you? So learn, like, not the way I did, because not a lot of people are going to go through that. Learn from what I learned. The dark will always use the dark. The light will always use the light. It's up to you to see how far in intensity you want that light and dark to be. Mhm. Me too. There was a time where I believed Corey was the kindest, most gentle human being in the world. He was so honest and sincere, and he held every door. He paid for everything. He helped me start a business. He bought me a fucking house. He bought me a car. He paid for every medical bill. He took me to every doctor's visit. He helped pay for every bit of everything: food, bills, money, decorations. We built a life together. And then someone fucked with his head, and then fucked with my head. Sacrificed animals. We did ritual magic. We were we were fucked over by actual technology and personnel and different structures of organization and by covens and witches and whatever else. And I knew, and I told him, and he didn't believe. He believed them instead. And here we are. So, me too, mumble it. But it's real easy. Easier said than done. But when you do it, you're like, oh, wait, that was easy. But until you do it, you're like, oh, that's so impossible. It's easy. You just have to love yourself enough, like a mother would love a child, to be like, no matter what you do, I always love you. No matter what thoughts you have, no matter what paranoid thoughts, no matter what doubts, no matter what, remember that person is a child of God. That means some part of them is learning a lesson. It's growing, it's evolving, it's maturing. It's never the same person twice, is it? You're never the same person twice. So, how dare you think, or I think, that someone hasn't grown, that God didn't work with them, that they continue to do bad stuff, that they're not more mature and wise and hunky or like feminine, or, they didn't have weird extraterrestrial experiences or some spiritual mumbo jumbo or something. Who's to say they didn't awaken the Christ within? Maybe they did. And we don't know because we're replaying the same old sad stories based on the same old sad neural network, based on the same old sad fucking belief systems, put in by same old sad fucking people who were trigger testing to see if they can break apart a union. And if they can, how easy would it be? Apparently, that easy. So there comes a point after sitting with God and the universe and the foundations of existence where you realize the more you don't forgive people, situations, experiences, the more you keep attaching yourself to it, the more it's like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay, then why are you feeling it? Oh, I can feel something else instead. Did you not see your thank you post and how I was squealing like a little brat in the other video from yesterday when I was setting this camera up? My darling, I appreciate you and I bless you. I hope you're going to get really awesome gadgets too. Did I tell you I'm getting surgery in a few weeks? Very easy, simple surgery, but finally, and then 8 weeks after that, new chompers, Mama Lit, new chompers. I'm gonna get my chompers fixed. Okay, I think we're good. I know it sucks. I know it's hard. Oh my God, me too, Rebecca. I cannot wait. They've had me on these antibiotics that are like kicking my butt in like the. I think that's what's going on. Why this is also pink. I think energetically, I'm just in a pink bubble where I'm just like, oh, everything is so comfy and cozy. I didn't realize just how much my mouth was hurting. And ever since those antibiotics a few days ago, I've been taking like, yeah, I've been taking it was 850 milligrams of amoxicillin for like 2 weeks. I was on them, and yesterday was the first day it was my last dose, and today I've just been free, like of pain, of discomfort, of pressure in my mouth, pressure in my back. It's just like, oh my God, my body can just breathe. And tomorrow I start or later tonight before I go to sleep, I have to start a new cycle of a different antibiotic so that there's like squeaky clean, saltwater rinses and all that stuff until January 11th or 12th or some shit like that, sometime in the middle of January. And I gotta go there and they're gonna the entire top row and they're gonna do a little measurement for that after a couple of weeks, teeth, dentures or gaps or whatever they are, and bridges. And then the bottom ones all seem fine, so that's good. Apparently, I'm more resilient and stronger and healthier than I thought I was. But again, I didn't feel that way because so many things have been making me feel like broken, and it had a lot to do with what I was eating, what I was drinking, what I was thinking, what I was feeling, what I was doing each day, and why I was doing it. And I've just been sitting there in like 2 weeks now on antibiotics. And I'm like, huh, that doesn't taste good. This doesn't taste good. That doesn't taste good. Why am I even eating that? It's weird. It's very weird. Good, but just being free of pain like that is just nice. I thought that was just how my body was supposed to feel all the time. Much love to you too, Mama. Enjoy your wonderful, fucking peaceful, blissful night. Oh my God, the vibrations of like the way the world I'm feeling lately, so amazing. May you guys all feel like comfy and cozy and all this. Please take care of your bodies, take care of your intestinal tract, take care of your mouth, your hair, your scalp. Push the energy back. Do stretches, do yoga, drink more water, talk to your water. Um, Go to a doctor, check your fucking intestines, the bacteria, your blood levels, your candida growth levels, and all that. Make sure you're okay because there's a lot going on internally in people that is just. I wasn't even aware I was in that much pain, physical pain. I wasn't even aware, like it was just a normal part of my body. And people were like, "Oh, you're so Queen of Swords." Oh, I was in fucking physical pain, bruh. Like when they saw those X-rays, they were like, "How the fuck?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, dude," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" They're like, "All the way up here, pain, all up here, all the rot, like the decay." Oh my God. All because of a mercury filling I had in my mouth right here. That one. And it's been poisoning my mouth since I've been 13. Fucking mercury. It's been so much, Rebecca. I didn't even know it. I was just getting used to it. Like looking at my eyes, I'm like, oh my God, I look so squishy and puffy. Because I'm not in pain. My body's like breathing and relaxing. I've even noticed how much I speak without taking a breath first because of how much my body was in pain. And I was like, oh my God, like it just makes me want to cry for myself, man. Like nobody even knew. I didn't even know. Or some, like, I guess it was obvious to some people, but physically, I was so numbed to the pain. It was just there all the time, all the time. So it was unpleasant. But ever since I've started painting again, I'm like, oh my God, Frida. And that life I've had as Frida. You know, epigenetic memory and cellular memory are like really, 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 really something. When I was doing this, I don't even remember doing it, like drawing it or anything. All I remember is sitting in a little blue house in Mexico with fucking coconut trees outside and painting. And I snapped out of it when I felt somebody come up behind me and touch my face and go, hey. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Anyway, I'm gonna go. So tired. I can't wait till all this is fixed. My face is gonna look so different. I'm gonna have to speak differently too. 2023, you guys, if my life is any indication, some of the biggest fucking obstacles, especially with this new moon, I think they're gonna be removed. Yeah, I think like a lot of stuff that we're like so numb to, it's gonna be illuminated. We're gonna go, oh my God. Like who I've been for years was a result of physical fucking pain I had chemically and natural inner hormonal like serotonin, dopamine, and all that stuff flooding through my body with adrenaline and extra testosterone to numb my face, my body from feeling all that pain. So my hormones were out of whack, my fucking body was out of whack, all from the time I've been 13 because of the mercury fucking filling in my mouth. I don't even know who I am. Fully in mortal form yet. That's like 30 years of my brain and my body being slowly poisoned by mercury. How funny. Mercury, Thoth, Hermes. The caduceus, the thing that ends up healing everything. The venom becomes the medicine. So be ready for that. A lot of the stuff in your lives where you're like, oh no, that was the worst. What if it was actually the best thing that could have ever happened to you? I don't even know what my psychic powers are going to be after this. With my mind actually fucking functioning properly, with my teeth not in pain, with me not on any kind of fucking drugs to like antibiotics. And, oh my God, my hormone levels are going to be balanced out. I get to actually live after 40 fucking years. So, and I didn't even know that was the problem. I just knew I couldn't breathe through the side of my nostril. I was always breathing through this side. So now I know why. So I have to forgive all of me and all the versions of me, even more every day, and accept that nobody really knows me because I don't even know how I function in a day without pain. While I have enough money to actually live and to be in my own house with my own car, in my name, in a body that doesn't hurt, and that looks like me and has the proper reproductive organs. Look at all the stuff I don't know anything about. And it's the simplest, most basic things in life. A regular day at home. So put your problems in perspective. Okay. I'm gonna go. It's 6:28. How long have we been doing this? Oh my Jesus, Karen. With the fucking lighting. 1:21:25. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna put the camera here anymore. Why is everything still so pink? I kind of want to move the monitor, you guys. Like, I want to put it instead of there, here, but then it'll be really close to like, look. And if I put it there, I mean, if I put the camera there, then like, you'd be way up there. So that wouldn't really work. And I don't have a light over there that works. Everything just looks really fucking weird. You know what I need? What I should make? What if I put something right here? Like, that's eye level, right? But then you can't see that. And I can't really move it this way. So it would be nice if it was over here. But then I'm right here. I don't know what to do with it. So I'm going to go. Because I don't know what else to tell you. And I'm being goofy now. It is humbling in every which way. And it's a beautiful humbleness. So when people are like, oh, you've been humbled and whatever. It's like, no, bitch. Do you see this piece? This isn't humbled. This is the removal of fucking deceit from my life. And Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, bro. Mercury filling in my mouth the entire time. Sorry for all the hurtful, mean, and accurate things I said. Okay. Like, oh my God, what you want me to blame myself for what? Bro, my brain was being poisoned from the inside out through my gums. Sorry, did you want me to nurture your like boobs as they grew? Because mine stopped growing because I couldn't eat because I was in pain. Like, what the fuck? And nobody fucking told me. Nobody fucking did anything until my teeth got so infected. And I'm like, Jesus, Barry and Joseph, what is this? And the dentist is like, what is that in there? I'm like, what do you mean? Oh. Did you know that when I was in the dentist's office, there's a nerve literally called a interconnected minor plexus in the mouth, a minor solar plexus. So, and a opposite of like here and here, okay? It sends blood and something, like it's like the roof of the mouth, to all of this up here. Years ago, when I was in Skokie, I cried so fucking much And I didn't realize why I was crying. Lo and behold, my brain was being poisoned. So I felt something here go zzz and turn off. And then I felt something here go off. And shortly after, these teeth started cracking, which is why I went to the dentist. And that dentist did terrible things to my teeth. Lo and behold, it was a chakra center. How did it break? Unexpressed pain was compounded so heavily into my mouth that I could not express it. So what happened to all that dense energy? Got stuck there. And it broke me apart from the inside out. So when I tell you, now that I can think clearly, somewhat, make sure your bodies are fucking healthy before you decide who you're forgiving and who you're not forgiving. Because I've done a lot of really stupid things. A lot. I've had a lot of personality aspects. I've had a lot of self-defense mechanisms, coping mechanisms, and they've all been due to a radiating source of pain in my body that had no source heart. Energetically, it was unexpressed anger, pain, grief, sadness, etc. Things that eat you apart, right? Energetically, physically, it was brittle teeth. I couldn't make sense of reality. I couldn't break down the ideas of reality, as Louise Hay says. What did that result in? Mother-father connections and how I'm perceived by them, or how I perceive myself to be perceived. The mother and father side. And then on the side, the main mother connection, the main father connection. What's happened to me over the years? Isolation, transformations, all sorts of things being revealed about me that really most of which aren't true. I mean, I can't say none of which. I don't know what all has been spoken about me. How did it result energetically? I don't know. My soul knows that. How did it result physically? Now, what's going to happen after this in a few weeks by springtime? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows? Because maybe, just maybe, once I get those teeth fixed, like the dentures, and I learn to speak, and I'm done from the pain after the surgeries and all that, I'll be like, oh, this is life. Okay. And then what happens then is I don't fucking know. But for now, my main concern is getting a healthy body and getting you guys to let go of those connections of unforgiveness so that you can enjoy the connections with a new story attached to them. Because some of those stories aren't even true. Okay? And the way you remember some stories isn't true. Because remember, even what I remember isn't super true. Because, well, let's face it, there's been a poisonous gas in my face being released at microdoses towards my frontal cortex for over 30 years. Somehow it's unlocked a bunch of superpowers. Upside. Downside, there's like a lot of me inside of me. We're like a broken mirror ball in here. And yeah, I don't think there's super glue enough to put this mess back together. But I kind of like it. So we'll see what happens. Because it feels like instead of putting the broken pieces back together, what Source is doing, what the universe is doing is just making it better. The solution, right? So let things be. I'm fucking scared of the dentist appointment in January. I'm scared of the recovery more, to be honest. Not because of the bad stuff, but because I know I'm going to have to do it on my own, level up again. But you know what? This time it's a lot easier. Because I've been doing something like this so many times, but this time it's just a checklist. You know? It's kind of like preparing for a dark night of the soul or preparing for a breakup or a wedding. There are certain things you know need to be done. The rest is a learning experience. So do those things you know need to be done for you. And stop battling dark magicians. When two people are on a fucking table like Harry Potter throwing fucking fireballs at each other, you know who wins? The one who gets off the fucking table and stops throwing fireballs. The other one's still trying to win. So remove yourself from the conflict because it's so petty. So petty. A fucking hug ends a conflict. A baby's laughter ends a conflict. A cat purring ends a conflict. Like, what the fuck are you so angry about? Some of you. Get over it. Don't make me cat launcher you with like a cat, a bazooka with cats in it. Don't make me do it. I'll invent something, goddammit, and I'll go to fucking Build-A-Bear and build a bunch of stuffed cats and just knock some sense into you guys. I love you. I'm gonna go and and enjoy myself. I am on season 3 of the Doom Patrol. No, my fucking god. Crazy Jane on that TV show is not the universe's way of slapping some common sense into me. I don't know what is. I'm legitimately Crazy Jane. How annoying. Ugh. Anyway, watch the show. It's amazing. I might be here tomorrow. I might not. I don't know. It depends on how zonked out I get on these new meds. As if I'm not zonked out enough already. I can't believe this shit I gotta go through on my own, dude. Astonishing. I just heard Jafar say, how many times do I have to kill you? Why don't you just stop trying and maybe go take care of your kids? Plant a basil. Plant a tomato. Don't you have anything better to do? Where'd it go? I love you guys. Merry Christmas Eve. And just in case, because I'm gonna probably make another video if I get any kind of whatever is to thank you, or I'll do a community post. Please keep an eye on the community post page because I usually say thank you to stuff there. Because I don't know if you guys want to be mentioned on live video. So, right, Merry Christmas Eve. Okay, see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. And 6:41. Jesus, I cannot believe how early it is. This is like the longest fucking day ever. So I just keep I keep fiddling with stuff. I took my T-Mobile box and I turned it into a weird little treasure trinket box for my mom. Like fiddling with all sorts of stuff. And I come back and it's just like 5 minutes has passed. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like I'm walking through time. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Let me see this. There we go. Okay. Bye. Have fun.